Moving on, there are reports out of Iran of violent clashes in the capital Tehran between security forces and opposition supporters. Independent witnesses and opposition websites say government forces beat demonstrators with batons and smashed car windscreens. The foreign media banned from covering these kind of events in Iran, but it's believed these latest images, lifted from YouTube, were posted by opposition supporters who resort to sending out user-generated material over the internet to get the news out. Joining me live is our Tehran correspondent, John Line. John, what's your reading of what we're seeing in Tehran today?
It's difficult to get a handle on the scale of this, but one does get a feeling of quite an anarchic situation with protests erupting in a number of different locations. Both today and in recent days, it's been not only Tehran, not in North Tehran or Central Tehran, but South Tehran, working class areas, so that the social base is wide. Around the country, we saw a couple of days ago, Isfahan, a big protest down there. Places like Zanjan and other provinces, quite provincial areas. One suspects this is really stretching the government's resources, because in the past they brought in their guys, their Basijis, their militiamen from the provinces. Well, now maybe they can't risk doing that because the demonstrations might break out almost anywhere in the country. This, of course, a build-up to what is expected to be the biggest day of demonstrations tomorrow, Ashura, the Shia Muslim commemoration, a very big day anyway in the Shia Muslim calendar, and the opposition have been trying to turn this both into a day of protest, but also a way of saying, we're the religious ones. Just because you call yourselves the Islamic Republic, don't think you've got a monopoly on God. So it's a very, very tense situation. There's been quite a violent response this morning, I get an impression. A lot of shots, some shots have been fired in the air, it seems, and there's been quite a lot of use of batons, both on protesters, and also they go in and smash up cars when they think people are hooting in support of the protesters, and that's another tactic of the opposition, is that people drive past, hoot their support, and they're liable to get attacked as well by the security forces.
What we're talking about here, I suppose, is real people power. Not least, it's different in as much as it seems to be more spread out over the entire country. If the impetus for this, however, is not coming from what you could nominally call the opposition leadership, where is it going to go? Because therefore it seems as powerless as it was last time.
They were telling a kind of almost a joke, really, even just after the election when I was still in Iran. They said that the train of change has left the station, the opposition leadership are racing to catch up with it, and the government's been left behind at the station. And it really hasn't changed since then. The movement is ahead of its leaders, and oftentimes we've been hearing the leaders almost trying to calm things down and saying, no, we don't want protests today, we don't want violence. Particularly, they haven't explicitly been calling for protests. The one exception was when they went to the funeral for Grand Ayatollah Montazeri on Monday, of course. So it's a strange situation. Many people, many Iranians I've spoken to, believe that change is coming, but it may take quite some time for it to happen.
If that's the context, what are the opposition up to? Is it that they feel they can't take power, or they don't want power? Not yet, anyway.
I don't think the leadership has coalesced yet, and after all, it's very difficult if anybody who's seen in a leadership position is liable to be arrested, apart from the opposition presidential candidates who've been keeping their heads down a bit. We are expecting later today former President Khatami to go to a memorial service, a commemoration for Ashura, which may well become a sort of political event. So it's an interesting situation. I think it's a really tense situation, and yet again I have to say we're not quite clear where it's going.
John, for the moment, many thanks.